There's a reason every storyline in the Pit feels tense right now. It's not about who's right or wrong, it's about trust and what happens when it keeps failing. So once we break this down layer by layer, you'll stop watching these moments as these separate conflicts and realize that there's a pattern connecting all of them. By the end of this breakdown, you won't just understand why everyone feels on edge. You'll understand that this show keeps forcing both its characters and audience to decide who they're willing to trust when certainty disappears. This is The Real Spot, and I'm Bobby Foster. Let's break it down. There's a reason this season feels like something terrible is about to happen. It's not because the ER is falling apart yet, not because patients are being mishandled completely, but because there's a lack of trust in how the ER should be run. And once trust erodes at the leadership level, everything beneath it starts to feel unstable. Robbie wants to run it one way, and then Dr. Al wants to run it a different way. Robbie wants to trust his gut, where Dr. Al wants to trust systems and procedures. She's really by the book.
What is your gut telling you?
Her gut?
Yeah, it's this thing that AI will never have.
And neither approach is inherently wrong, and that's kind of what makes it uncomfortable, because their experiences are clashing but not really their intentions. Both of them genuinely believe that they're protecting patients. They just disagree on how they should go about it. So right now, none of the decisions feel clean. Nothing's really agreed upon yet. On the surface, the ER is running relatively smoothly so far, but you can feel this pressure building up underneath everything, especially between Robbie and Dr. Al. Robbie's extremely defensive so far about how he runs the Pit. So when Dr. Al questions him or tries to change things here and there, it doesn't feel like a collaboration to Robbie. It feels like he's under attack, like it's personal.
ER doctors spend 40% of their time charting, only 28% of their time at the bedside.
That doesn't sound accurate.
On the flip side, Dr. Al's clearly protective of the system she wants to implement, especially knowing Robbie is taking this sabbatical. She wants things to be how she knows they can work well. The things she's trying to implement aren't just theoretical to her. It's the future of how an ER should be run. So since they're both being defensive, every disagreement right now carries more weight than it normally would. And as that tension keeps stacking, that pressure is going to expose where the system is fragile. Right now, viewers are debating who's right, Dr. Robbie or Dr. Al, but I think there's a more important question than that, which is their beef gonna end up getting someone hurt? Could it lead to something like malpractice? We may already be getting some foreshadowing of that because of everything going on with Mel. So let's talk about Mel, because Mel matters not just as a character, but because of how we react to her as viewers. Our response to Mel is mirroring the exact dilemma that the show keeps presenting. Our instinct as viewers is Mel is good, Mel is honest, Mel doesn't dodge responsibility. So when she's anxious and nervous about being deposed, we protect her, right? Because we love Mel. We tell ourselves that anyone would be nervous in that situation. It doesn't really mean anything. She'll be okay. And that reaction matters because the show does want us to trust Mel. She's earned that trust from the viewers over time. And maybe that trust will set up a plot twist. Maybe she actually is responsible in some way for what she's getting sued for. But more importantly, it puts us in the same emotional position as the staff. The show has this theme so far of following your gut, and it's asking us as viewers to do that too. We trust Mel based on who she's been, but here's a fact we can't ignore. We haven't seen what she's been up to for the last 10 months. And that missing time becomes a gap where doubt can grow. That gap matters, not just as this proof of guilt, but as uncertainty. And uncertainty is exactly what this season keeps amplifying. Mel isn't just anxious. She's a symbol of how trust starts to, waver when information is missing. And that instability does not stop with her. It's spreading outward into the systems, leadership, and decision making. And this is where Dr. Al and the AI initiative enter the conversation. Because when trust in people starts to feel shaky, systems feel safer. They promise consistency when humans feel unpredictable. So AI has these promises where it'll make fewer mistakes, it'll be more efficient, there's less human error, and on paper it sounds like a good solution, especially in an environment where things need to happen fast. But then we see what actually happens when that AI is used, and it ended up recording a patient's medical history wrong and the medication they were taking was wrong.
AI, almost intelligent.
And mind you, they didn't fix that on screen. I hope they did fix that though, because those are some dangerous errors. And Dr. Al just brushed it off. She just said it was 98% accurate. But like I said earlier, she's really defensive. So she kind of just brushed past how dangerous that could be. But that line matters because in my last video, I was talking about how patients become dehumanized. And in that moment, right, safety became this percentage, because that AI being wrong 2% of the time, that's human lives that are affected. And see, the thing is, the real issue isn't AI making the mistake. The issue is how quickly trust shifted away from instinct and towards the numbers, towards the system. Systems feel objective and objectivity feels safer than human judgment, but objectivity doesn't mean understanding. You can't rely solely on your gut instinct, but instinct is still essential. In this season, it keeps showing us what's getting lost when trust leans too far towards the systems without having human context. Now let's zoom out to the people stuck in between, instinct and systems. You got Javadi and Ogilvy, Robbie and Al. Everyone believes they're trying to make the Pitt better, but belief doesn't protect patience. Behavior does. Pressure changes what people trust and how they behave. That's why you see Javadi and Ogilvy, they stop trusting teamwork and start trusting in competition, and that competition will get them the job they want because the position is scarce in that ER. And in that moment when they're trying to one up each other, they're no longer focused on the patient. They're focused on proving that they deserve to be there. And then we even see Robbie explicitly tell them that teamwork matters. But something tells me that message won't fully land until something goes terribly wrong. Because lessons in the Pit, they don't come from speeches, they come from consequences. We've seen that all last season. And in a high pressure ER, hesitation, it can cost lives. Like, you don't always have time to consult systems, which is why when Dr. Al trusts structure, that makes sense because structure promises consistency and consistency promises safety. But sometimes you have to move on instinct when those systems are failing and there's just not enough resources around, which that's how Robbie has learned to deal with things. But right now you're having instinct and structure collide with some ego mixed in there, and the patients are kind of becoming secondary. Not intentionally, but it is inevitable. And at this point, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore because every major storyline is asking a similar question from a different angle. Do you trust the person you feel is good? Do you trust the system designed to be efficient? Or do you trust your gut instinct under pressure? You got Mel's situation, the AI rollout, leadership is clashing, different conflicts going on, different dilemmas. So the question is, who do you trust when certainty disappears? Because there's a lot of different things going on and you need to be able to trust something. And what happens when trust itself becomes a risk? And right now the show hasn't provided an answer for that because it wants us to sit inside that. Because I feel like we're going to get to a point where we as viewers don't know who to trust. And here's the realization that everything is building towards. The Pit isn't arguing for instinct over technology or logic. It's not arguing for systems over people. It's asking something much harder. When none of these actions or systems guarantee safety, who are you still willing to trust anyway? Because instincts can fail, systems can fail, technology can fail, people can fail, but someone still has to make decisions. And trust isn't necessarily about who's right. It's about what you're willing to stand behind when there's no clean answers. And that's the weight this season is putting on every character so far, and why watching it feels so tense right now. The Pit is not a comforting show. It doesn't reward certainty. There's so many morally gray choices that happen. And even with good intentions, bad things are still going on. And it asks us, who do we trust? What do we trust? And once you notice that, you can't stop seeing it. If this breakdown helped you understand your feelings around the Pit, then you're in the right place. Go ahead and like and subscribe so more videos like this can show up on your feed. This is The Real Spot, and I'm Bobby Foster, where we put words to the feelings that stories leave behind. Until next time, I'll see you.